Falcons hold on to win this one 23-20. Giants now 1-6 on the year. Matt Ryan kicks off our postgame sound.
For us to get the job done tonight, to kind of inch our way closer to 500 is a positive for us. So it was a tough win. Took all three phases all night. But I'm proud of the effort across the board, and that showed up, for 60 minutes.
With the way we've worked and the players we have, and obviously disappointed, and but that's what happens in this league if you don't play to the caliber that you can, and we're not doing that.
All right, we'll talk about the Giants side of it in a second, but first, Chris, did the Falcons save their season with a win last night?
They still got a lot of injuries. I mean, the Falcons have played some good offensive football, but, I mean, their defense, historically, it's hard to play when you've lost the number of starters that they lost from week number 1, losing multiple starters, and then a couple weeks after that, losing other guys. Like, it's been tough for Dan Quinn and the Falcons. Their offense has been explosive, and last night's game just enough to be able to get the win. So even some offensive injuries. Freeman's been out, hadn't been in the lineup. So, I mean, this Atlanta team, are they back in it? It's tough. They're in the toughest division. It's not an easy out with Tampa. All right, you don't want to play them. Jameis is back at the controls for them. New Orleans might be one of the better teams, second best team in the NFC. And Cam Newton, man, that's no picnic anytime you play Carolina. So no, they need a few more of these. And to be able to win games like this before we can include them in the playoff conversation.
Listen, it might be foolish of me, and I do it every year anyway, to before the year look at the schedule and say who's got a tough road, who doesn't. But halfway through the year, we got a pretty good idea of who's good and who's not. And Atlanta has 4 road games left against teams with winning records. At Washington, at New Orleans, at Green Bay, at Carolina. You already got 4 losses. You have 4 road games where you will be a significant underdog. So even if they sweep every other game they play, what do you got to do go in those 4 games? 3-1? Like, when you already have 4 losses, when you start the year 1-4, here's the path to the playoffs. Go 10-1 the rest of the way. So are they still alive to go 10-1? Technically, yes. But the reason teams that start 1-4 typically don't make the playoffs isn't because they're mathematically eliminated. It's because they're not very good. That's why they're 1-4. And like the Atlanta, I don't blame them for this, by the way. Every year we have a team whose season gets ruined due to injuries. And Atlanta, in its first 2 games of the year, lost arguably 3 of its 4 most important defensive players due to injury. And when you already had a limited defense, it's hard to overcome that. It's a good win today, or yesterday, pardon me. It was a good win last week, but you got to reel off like 6 of 7 to be in the hunt again.
On the other side, the Giants, while 1-6, afterwards Odell said, it doesn't feel like we're 1-6. We're playing better than 1-6. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're still 1-6. CeCe, what went so wrong for Eli Manning and the Giants yesterday?
Well, I don't know what it feels like to be 1-6, so I can see why this is. Oh, yeah. I don't feel like 1-6. What did it feel like? You know what that is? It's a wide receiver who had a good game, so people can't point the finger at him. I played good. I ain't concerned about the rest of them, because the truth of the matter is we're 1-6. Now, I don't even know, Nick, in the history of the New York Football Giants, how many times they've been 1-6, but this is not a good football team. Their quarterback's not good. The Giants are rebuilding without a rebuilding plan.
Correct.
They stuck with the quarterback who got them a couple Super Bowls. Now, I like Eli, and I've given Eli a lot of slack and everything, but look at the press conference between Matt Ryan, who won the game, and Eli Manning, who lost the game. One looked like a leader, and Matty Ice was mic'd up during the game, got some nice sound bites. His tight end jumped offside, man. He chewed off right into his butt. Let Hooper know, man, you can't make that kind of mistake. We're trying to run out the clock to win the game, so it was great insight. Eli has thrived when he had other great leaders around him, Michael Strahan and others. Eli is not that type A personality that's going to take over and galvanize a team. When you have people like Michael Strahan, he has thrived. Him and Odell have not thrived together. All right, so we're stuck with Eli because he won those 2 Super Bowls. But, man, it's over. The Giants are rebuilding.
Man, and I understand that there's a lot of people that know Eli, know his family, and they, out of respect to what he's done and out of respect to the human being he is he a Walter Payton Man of the Year winner?
Yes,
I feel
absolutely.
like he's got a patch on his
there's
jersey.
only a few of them.
Right, there's only, and so for all
Larry
those,
Fitzgerald.
right,
And no one doubts that. He's a great guy.
But because of that, I mean, I watched the game last night. Listen, Eli Manning's got a great gig right now. Nobody in the history of professional football has ever made more money, and evidently, all the broadcast crews nationwide have an agreement. We will not criticize the quarterback. We can see on the sideline the head coach say, throw it to Odell. And we saw, right, I mean, Odell's open, and of course, I mean, he tries to fit it into his tight end, I think his backup tight end, in double coverage, and Shermer on the sideline. Throw it to Odell is what he's yelling there. And Shermer and Odell multiple times throughout the game talked on the sideline. Odell kept his composure, and you're right, he did have a good game. I thought his comments after the game were benign. Like, you know, I think he's just trying to say nothing that'll get him in trouble, that'll create headlines. But the problem for the Giants right now is what it has been all year. They have an awful offensive line and a quarterback who can't play anymore. And maybe in an ideal situation he could. Maybe if they had traded him to Jacksonville and he played in warm weather behind a good offensive line where they only wanted to make a couple plays a game, he could have a different arc this year, but that's not the situation.
So we are 7 games in. You can't jump ahead to the draft. What do you do now the rest of the season? Do you keep playing Eli out there? Do you see what he can do? Do you try to salvage something? I know you say they're rebuilding without a rebuilding plan, but map out the rest of the season.
Oh, I get the 10 losses, Jenna. It's a wrap.
All right, Kyle Lauletta at 10 losses.
Yeah, I get the 10 losses. I'm moving off of Eli. Eli doesn't have a streak. We had McAdoo ended that last year, so we don't have that. Because typically, a great player, people take those things in consideration. Forget about the embarrassment, right? The organization is an embarrassment. So how he goes out, that's not my worry anymore. My worry, if I own the New York Giants, or I'm running the New York Football Giants, is what is my future, and giving my fans just a glimpse that, yes, we do know what we're doing, and we do have a future. It's not with Eli Manning.
And Eli's not even playing smart anymore. Yesterday, they're down 11. They have the ball at the 14 with a minute 40 left. Minute 40 left, down 11. You know you need 2 scores, obviously. He throws 2 passes over the middle, and then with a minute left, runs a quarterback sneak, doesn't get it, runs another quarterback sneak. They end up scoring a touchdown with 5 seconds left. Like, that is basic. And people can say that's on Shermer. It didn't look to me like Shermer was calling those.
No.
And if he did, Eli been in the league 15 years, check out of it, man. You can't run those plays when you have to get a touchdown and a field goal. It was crazy, the end of that game.
New York Giants, now 1-6, firmly in last place of the NFC East. Coming up,
Of the NFL.
the Patriots.